ESL Europe January monthly finals all said and done. We are about ready to kick off today's Daily Rocket. My name is Shalthis. This is the Rocket League eSports Wrap-Up Show. We are ready to talk about a very packed week of competitive Rocket League. Every major tournament, including Gfinity, ESL, and of course, an incredible week of RLC Pro League. You know me, my name is Shalthis. This is the show. We are just about ready to get things going here. I waited until the monthly finals were done. I wanted to save it until that point because, obviously, I didn't want to try to steal or split viewers, and I wanted to talk about it. So, you know, we know how it goes. Why is that so weirdly shaped? Let's tweak that. There we go. That looks a little better. A little better. Chat window's gonna go mental. Let's try and sort that out a bit. I think that's good. Cool. Okay. I don't know why that was all flat and weird. Anyway, so without any further ado, I think it's about time we get down to business and talk about the results of this past week. We have a lot to do. So let's get to it. Starting off with the ESL Go For Rocket League NA January finals. Both monthly finals took place this week. And on the NA side, the final 8 teams that qualified: Turbulence, Ascension, Foremost, iBuyPower Cosmic, Weebs on Wheels, 2Arc, Divine Entity, and Double Tap, making it all the way into that tournament. For those of you who are not familiar with what the monthly finals are or how they work, basically every single week, every Sunday is the ESL Go For Rocket League Cups. If you participate in those cups and make it, I believe, at least to the quarterfinals, you will accumulate Go For points. And if you accumulate a lot of those points by placing very highly or winning, then you make it into the monthly finals. The top 8 teams in terms of points make it that far, and this was the results of said tournament. So Turbulence in the first round would take Ascension out in a very close 3-2 series. Cosmic, having no problem with Foremost, would take them out 3-0. Weebs on Wheels, having a close series against 2Arc, and Divine Entity taking care of Double Tap 3-1. So in the semifinals, we would see Turbulence get taken out by Cosmic 3-1, Weebs on Wheels shut out by Divine Entity, and then a grand finals that would see Divine Entity get stopped dead in their tracks by iBuyPower Cosmic, who would move on to win said tournament. So the monthly finals going to a very game iBuyPower Cosmic, who would 4-0 Divine Entity in that last round of the series. Moving on to the event we just got through with, the EU monthly finals, which just took place. We saw the Three Musketeers, BAM eSport, Galactic Lions, Firewall, Anavia RL, Stoic, Crown and Jewels, and Team Rocket all qualify for said event. In the first round, it would not go smoothly for Team Rocket, who would be ousted by Crown and Jewels 3-1. Anavia RL, however, would have a fight against Stoic, but they would make it into that semifinal match. Galactic Lions take care of Firewall 3-1, and the Three Musketeers have no trouble with BAM eSport. In the semifinals, Three Musketeers continue their winning ways, going 3-0 against Galactic Lions. Then we see Crown and Jewels have a very close series against Anavia RL 3-2. And your grand finals would pit Crown and Jewels up against Three Musketeers. It would be a interesting series where Three Musketeers would fight tooth and nail, but they would not be able to pull it off in the very end, and Crown and Jewels would take the series 4-2. So Crown and Jewels would take the win here for another EU monthly final in the books for Crown and Jewels. So with that decided, we move on to Gfinity this past Friday. The final 8 teams in that tournament: Three Musketeers, Anavia RL, Perpetual Blackout, Galactic Lions, Stoic, Nope, Crown and Jewels, and BAM eSport. Now, as far as Gfinity goes, obviously a much deeper tournament where we just take a look at the final 8, just like we do with the weekly events. And it would be another good run for Crown and Jewels, but starting in the quarterfinal rounds, Three Musketeers would just edge out Anavia RL to move on. Perpetual Blackout having no problem with Galactic Lions. Stoic edging out Nope 3-2. And Crown and Jewels taking care of BAM eSports 3-0. Moving into the semifinals, Perpetual Blackout would hold off the Three Musketeers 3-1. And Crown and Jewels taking care of Stoic 3-0. And that would take us to a finals, which would go the distance, all 7 games, but it would tilt ever so slightly in the favor of Crown and Jewels, who would win Gfinity 4-3. So a big win for Crown and Jewels here, but the winning ways would not stop in Gfinity. Moving on to ESL Europe this past Sunday. The final 8 teams in ESL EU would be Crown and Jewels, Manteca FC, Anavia RL, Firewall, Experimental RL, Rookie Tiers, Majestic Criminals, and Silverware. In the first round, Crown and Jewels would have no trouble at all getting past Manteca FC. Firewall would edge out Anavia RL. Experimental taking care of Rookie Tiers in a bit of a surprising result, and Majestic Criminals going 3-1 against Silverware. In the semifinals, even Firewall could not stop Crown and Jewels, who would carve their way into the grand finals 3-0. Experimental would also 3-0 Majestic Criminals to go into that matchup, but they would be tested, and tested hard, because Crown and Jewels, another tournament win here, going 4-1 against Experimental RL. That means in their bye week from the RLC Pro League, Crown and Jewels would win 3 tournaments in 1 week. So a huge winning way for Crown and Jewels. A big, big result. But then moving on to ESL North America. On the NA side, the final 8, Double Tap, Ignition Gaming, Divine Entity, Back That Pass Up, Failure to Launch, Influenza, Mad Magic 3.0, and Weebs on Wheels. This would be a good week to have a bye from the RLC Pro League, because going through the rest of this tournament, Double Tap taking care of Ignition Gaming easily. Divine Entity having a bit of a struggle against Back That Pass Up, but they would move on to the semifinals. Failure to Launch closing out Influenza 3-0, and Mad Magic 3.0 making their presence back known on the scene 3-1. And then in the semifinals, Double Tap would edge out Divine Entity to secure their spot in the grand finals, and Failure to Launch would make it past Mad Magic 3.0. But Failure to Launch, who again were on a bye week from the RLC Pro League, would move on to win ESL Cup 28 4-0. So this result means that the 2 teams who had bye weeks in the RLC Pro League would go on to win their respective ESL events for that week on the day they weren't playing in RLC Pro League. So keeping up their winning ways, very good stuff for Crown and Jewels and Failure to Launch. And those are your ESL results. So with that, we now need to take a look at the results of the RLC Pro League. So RLC Pro League, a very eventful week as we're heading into the final few weeks of the season. Starting off with Spectral getting shut out by MyXMG in a 5-0 set. SK Gaming starting to establish more of their winning ways, maybe making a shot to improve as they move forward here, going 3-2 against Noble Esports. Flipside Tactics losing their first series of the Pro League, going 3-2 against Supersonic Avengers on the European region. On the other side, Apollo 11 would fight tooth and nail but have a difficult time against a fully formed Orange Creamsicle, who would 3-2 them in that series. The troubles for Mocket Esports continue as Untethered goes 4-1 against Mocket to send them further down the standings. And then in the series of the night, the 2 #1 teams in North America clashed, and despite Gibbs not being there and A-Money having to substitute in, it would be iBuyPower Cosmic who would get the edge over Kings of Urban in that deciding 5th game to win that series and go 3-2 against Kings of Urban. So a really interesting set of results this week that do have some impact on the overall standings. So we're going to take a look at the standings, starting with Europe. So here are how your European teams look right now. Flipside Tactics holding down that #1 spot, thanks to having played a full complement of games. Of course, they have 5 more games played than Crown and Jewels, who had their bye week this week. But with 15 wins and 10 losses, they just barely are holding on to that #1 spot right now. Crown and Jewels, of course, in second place with a 14-6 record. MyXMG 12-8 as they hold on to number 3, moving up a spot this week. Supersonic Avengers falling 1 place, 11-9, but still in a good spot. MyXMG just edging up there with a huge performance last week. Noble eSports 8-12. They are tied with SK Gaming, but due to the goal differential, it is in favor of Noble. So SK Gaming falls into 6th place, and Spectral, who got absolutely hammered, are 7-18 in a very perilous position if they want to try to qualify for the playoffs with only 10 games left to go. So as far as Spectral goes, looking at this situation now, actually, now that I say that, they only have 5 games left to go. So as it stands right now, Spectral is practically mathematically eliminated here. We're in a situation right now where Spectral, if they win their next series 5-0, they will be 12-18. That means that Supersonic Avengers has to lose all of their games. Basically all of their games. If they win 2, then that's it for them. And for MyXMG, it's basically the same situation. Both of those teams have 10 games left, and if they get more than 12 wins, that immediately eliminates Spectral from being able to make it into the playoffs. So what you see here might very well be the top 4 teams in Europe that'll make it into the playoffs, but we'll see how it plays out as we move into the final 2 weeks of the regular season. But very interesting results. On the NA side, Kings of Urban still in #1 despite that loss with a 19-6 record and an amazing plus 35 goal differential for Kings of Urban. Absolutely unreal. iBuyPower Cosmic 17-3 in second place. Untethered having a 500 record, 10-10 with 10 goal differential. Apollo 11 coming in 4th place, 8-12 right now. Failure to Launch right behind them at 7-13. Orange Creamsicle with the exact same record, 7-13, but has a significantly lower goal differential of -22. And Mocket eSports 7-18 with a -32 goal differential. So the situation here is a little bit similar for Mocket. They only have 5 games left to go. And looking at the scenario, they're still able to make it through here, but the most wins they can get is 12. So any team that gets more than 12 wins will officially knock them out of making it into the playoffs. Which means Untethered, with 10 games to go, only has to win 2 more times, or 3 more times to do that. Only 5 more wins necessary for Apollo, and 6 for Failure and Orange Creamsicle, respectively. So a lot of potential here to kind of get that 4th spot, and we're going to see a lot of competition between Apollo, Failure, and Orange Creamsicle there. So a few interesting stats I want to look at now, going back to both of these, brackets here. So first off, the amount of shots, really significant for Kings of Urban, coming in at 228 total shots across 25 games, 9.12 shots per game. Very high percentage, and 80 goals to speak of. So that puts them at a .35 shot percentage, which is not too bad. Pretty comparable to a lot of these other teams, but Apollo 11 actually leads that metric, .39. So they have the best shot percentage in the league right now. On the European side, taking a look at that, Flipside Tactics, 226 shots, a 9.04 per game shot percentage off 25 games. Almost breaking 100 total saves, 99 total saves for Flipside Tactics, and 83 goals. That puts up at a .37. Now, Crown and Jewels is also at a .39 shot percentage, so they are tied for first place in that particular metric. But we'll see if that changes when they come back from their bye week next week. But the more interesting thing on a per-game shot total has to go to Supersonic Avengers, who have 195 shots across 20 games and nearly are breaking a 10-shot per game percentage. Just this past Sunday, they went into a set against Flipside Tactics, and in 2 games, both of those teams would score 11 goals total in each of those games. So, it's pretty insane how this is all kind of panning out. But, you know, again, kind of looking at these 2 standings here, we'll pop back to NA for a second. Some very interesting results coming into the final couple weeks. There are still 2 more weeks of the regular season to go, and that will set a very clear picture for who will be making it into the playoffs, and a lot to be concerned with as we figure out who the final 4 teams of each division will wind up being. But with that said, let's take a look at Week 6 of the RLC Pro League. So an interesting lineup. On the European side, SK Gaming going to be going up against Flipside Tactics. That Spectral logo should not be there. Didn't even realize that was a problem. Well, the Crown and Jewels logo is kind of hiding behind the Spectral logo. And that's what it should be. So, a little bit of a graphic hiccup. No big deal, right? It's all good. But, whoopsie doodle. Here, let's, we'll do this. Let's see if this will work. We'll go here. We're going to grab this guy. There we go. And we'll just kind of... hard to see because it's all in gray. But there we go. Crown and Jewels. It's right there. Sure, whatever. Anyway. Yeah, this should be the correct schedule, unless things changed on me. Because this was definitely not this week's schedule. I will visit the page and just double check here. Yeah, everything else is fine. Anyway, back to where we're at. Week 6, here we go. So SK Gaming taking on Flipside Tactics. Crown and Jewels going up against MyXMG. Supersonic Avengers taking on Noble eSports. On the NA side, Apollo 11 taking on Kings of Urban. Failure to Launch going up against Untethered. And Cosmic taking on Orange Creamsicle to wrap up Week 6. So, with that being said, that is your Week 6 schedule here. And let's go through each match. We'll kind of talk about it a little bit. So, SK versus Flipside. Now, the obvious momentum would be to say it's going to go in favor of Flipside, mainly because it's set up in such a way that Flipside has been on quite the tear lately, and SK has certainly been struggling. They built a little bit of momentum with their win in the series against Noble last week, or this past Sunday, but they are going to have a bit of a struggle against a team like Flipside, who is kind of on their own a little bit of a tear. So we'll see how Flipside does, but I'm going to give them the advantage in this series 3-2. Just based off how they've been playing so far. Again, on the EU side, we got Crown and Jewels taking on MyXMG. This should be a very interesting series because MyXMG coming off of a really significant win, 5-0 against Spectral. And that puts them in a position where Crown and Jewels still coming off of some big wins on their own, just not Pro League wins. Obviously not playing this past week, but winning 3 major tournaments in 1 week is a pretty big deal. So, I will have to give the edge to Crown and Jewels, but I'm going to say it'll be a 3-2 series. So I'm giving that edge to Crown and Jewels 3-2 in that set. Finally, Supersonic Avengers taking on Noble. This will be a difficult task for Noble because they're going to face a very strong offense in the part of Supersonic Avengers. And they have been looking pretty devastating lately. So in this particular set, I'm probably going to go 4-1 in favor of Supersonic Avengers here. But Noble has been looking pretty good. They did take a couple of games off of SK, but Supersonic Avengers are not SK Gaming. They are much more effective lately. So I'm going to give that edge to Supersonic Avengers 4-1 in that set against Noble. On the NA side, Apollo 11 going up against Kings of Urban. This is going to be a big test for Apollo 11. Kings of Urban, despite losing that set against IBP Cosmic, are still the one of the premier NA teams, undoubtedly. And I think Apollo will have a very challenging time trying to get past this squad. I'm going to give it 4-1 to Kings of Urban here, just based off what I've seen them do. Moving on, Failure to Launch going up against Untethered. This should also be a very exciting series. And I think a lot of it will come down to exactly what sort of Failure to Launch team we wind up seeing. Failure is doing very well. The last time they played in the Pro League, they would actually go 4-1 against Orange Creamsicle, but it would be an Orange Creamsicle without Gambit. And excuse me, and that's a big deciding factor, of course. I'm going to say in this particular series, it's going to go slightly in favor of Untethered 3-2. So that's my consideration there. Finally, Cosmic taking on Orange Creamsicle. Again, in this particular case, I'm going to have to give the edge to Cosmic, who looked exceptional against Kings of Urban on Sunday, and are basically in a position where they should 4-1 this set. If Gambit's not there, they'll probably 5-0 it, but we'll just stick to 4-1 right now. So iBuyPower likely to take that series 4-1. But that is Week 6. There are only 2 weeks left of the regular season for the RLC Pro League. And that is very interesting stuff. But that is your result, so that's what I think at least for Week 6. But there you have it. I'm going to get rid of that. And I think we'll just turn that back on. So, with that being said, with all that being done, let's make a quick camera move here. That didn't do anything. Come on. That's better. That works. Okay. Anyway, with all that being said, we've covered this past week pretty rapidly because I had a lot to cover. But anyway, now is the time. I'm not going to be able to do a very long stream today, but I will at least open up the floor. Q&A. You know how this works. If you have any questions about the competitive scene, about power rankings, about the game itself, or whatever else you may have, fire away in the chat and I will answer them for you live. I did see one question come in earlier while I was talking about everything from Pulsar. Surprised on the outcome of the IBP Cosmic match versus KOU, and do you think we would have seen Cosmic win more games if Gibbs was playing instead of A-Money? I can't say for sure on that. You know, I expected Kings to win this series because Gibbs wasn't there. And I don't know. You know, I can't say for sure if they would have actually gotten more games or if they still would have won. I think they probably still would have won at least. But aside from that, it's very hard to say. I am surprised, like I said, very surprised that they edged out that series, considering they were playing with a sub. But clearly, A-Money makes a good addition to IBP Cosmic, and you know, I guess we will be seeing him again this upcoming week. But very, very interesting result. Put it that way for sure. Do you know if TR will make the top 15 this week? I don't know. I haven't even started on my rankings yet. I would have to, you know, double check some stuff. But probably. Well, I would say probably. Do I think Rocket League can ever get as big as League or CSGO, and what would need to happen for it to get that big? That's a really good question. I would love to see it reach that level, and I think the potential is there. The reason I think the potential is there is because Rocket League is such an accessible esport. It's so easy to get drawn into it and to understand what's going on and to appeal to a broader audience. So I could see it growing that big, but appealing to a different sort of audience than most other esports do. And what need to happen? Well, we just need to keep it going. It's all about building momentum at this point. Getting Psyonix involved, having bigger and bigger events as time goes by, getting more people aware of the esports side of Rocket League, and that's what we do. That's what we're trying to do, at least. How do you think Apollo looks with Prime starting the past couple weeks? Putting Prime back in that lineup has been a brilliant move. Prime has looked great. His decision making is significantly better than it was. His play is still on point. He didn't quite have the MVP level performance he did a couple weeks ago, but he still stood out as a key player of Apollo this week. And I would say honestly, keep him on there. He's a great addition to the team, and should do them well, especially going up against OC next week. Do I think... Oh, I guess you're saying, do I think I'd put Supersonic Avengers above Flipside Tactics because they beat them in Pro League? Probably not. That's a big jump, and I would need to see some consistency. I didn't even do that with SK when they started beating Flipside. But because I also have to counteract that with the fact that Supersonic Avengers also lost 5-0 to Flipside in the Gfinity Invitational. So there's, it's always a bigger picture than just each week to week. But, alright, let's see. But we'll see how the power rankings go, of course. I'll be talking about those on Wednesday. Alright. During the KOU versus IDP Cosmic match, RLC stream had 5.3k views and A-Money 1k views. It is gaining popularity. We see that too. I think our stream alone peaked at about 3.7 or 3.6. We had the highest concurrent viewership that we've ever had for an event. And it's only going to get bigger. So, we're in a really good place, and we're doing good stuff, and the scene's slowly growing bigger and bigger. It's just a matter of exposing more people to what we do, and I think Psyonix can really help with that. But alright, looking for any more questions you may have. I will not be going for a full hour today. I have to cut it short today. But mainly because I ran into, the ESL monthly final, and I wanted to make sure that had an audience. But I have things I need to do. Does Mocket have enough top teams in it to start to be considered for the power rankings? There's two things that we need for any tournament to be considered for the power rankings. First thing is a reliable site that tracks the results and the rosters of the teams involved. We need to be able to see who's playing for who and when they're playing it. And that's one of the big things that Mocket is working on right now, I'm sure, but they don't currently have. So if they can not only be more consistent with the teams they play in, but also have that resource we can access after the fact that has all the teams and the results and the rosters, then that will help a lot. Because we need to see all that stuff when we're considering adding a tournament in. It's the same reason we don't currently do that for eSport Wall. Do I have a day job? I do freelance work. So, yes, I have to. I don't get paid to do this. But if you want to donate, the button's down there. Anyway. Is it pretty much impossible for Mocket to make the playoffs? Pretty much. They only have 5 games left, and it's going to be really hard to prevent the other teams from, getting past that. They would have to win all of their games and then hope that everybody else doesn't win anything. I mean, they are not officially mathematically eliminated. Like here, if we go back and just look at it for a second. Like, let's take a look at NA standings here. So, taking a look at the records right now, Mocket is 7-18. They only have 5 games left to play, which means that the best record they can possibly have is 12-18. So, all that has to happen is if 2 of the teams from 3rd place down win more than 12 games, honestly, if they win 12 games, they'll probably also win by either the head-to-head or the goal differential tiebreaker. But we'll just assume they have to win at least 13 games. Mocket, assuming they go 5-0 in their last series, which is going to be Week 7, they still have to then make sure that Orange Creamsicle, who has 10 games, doesn't win 6 of them. Failure to Launch has 10 games, doesn't win 6 of them. Apollo, which has 10 games, doesn't win 5 of them. Untethered, which has 10 games left, doesn't win 3 of them. So that's a lot of hoping for teams that all have 10 games left to play across these last 2 weeks. So that puts them in a really deep hole right now. So, like I said, it's practically impossible that Mocket is going to qualify for the playoffs, unfortunately. Do I think SA is improving faster than Flipside? Not really, because Flipside is kind of like, if there's a chart for like a 1 through 10 on good team being 10, bad team being 1, Flipside's a 10. They've been a 10 for a while now. They don't always play as a 10, but they've been a 10 for some time, and I don't know if they have much room to grow into. So, you know, technically, yeah, they've been doing better, or been growing faster, but that's because SA has room to grow. Flipside really doesn't. But SA's been doing extremely well. They had a tremendous run last week. They beat Flipside in the head-to-head, and they're in a really good spot. So Flipside, they are in a position right now where I think they're just trying to make it to the playoffs, and when they get into the playoffs, that's when they're going to be extremely effective. So we'll see how the playoffs go, because that's where things are going to get really interesting. It's double elimination, so, you know, Flipside would have to lose twice, and it's hard enough to beat them once. But we'll see how it goes. We can absolutely see how it goes. All right. Any more questions? Now is the time to get them out there. So fire away. Because we're probably going to wrap up here fairly soon. You gotta scroll down a little bit. It's underneath the picture of the stream. There are many buttons down there. One of which should say donate. There's one that says top donators or donations or something like that, and one that just says donate. But it's down there. I assure you, it is there. What got me into Rocket League? I got into Rocket League. Well, the way it actually worked is I discovered the game because I saw other YouTubers playing it, and I was like, oh, that's a really cool game. And I kept seeing so many more people playing it and being like, oh, this is an amazing game, this is an amazing game, and I'm like, alright, I clearly need to get this game. So I bought it, played it, was really impressed by it, and I started realizing very quickly that this game had a lot of esport potential. It was so easy to follow, it was clearly a competitive game, and it had a good just framework for that. So I went ahead and made my first shoutcast 5 days after I discovered the game. I haven't gone back to see it, watch it, and I'm sure it's terrible, but That's when I released my first shoutcast, and I've been doing it ever since. Do I seriously think Cosmic was playing good? I thought they were outplaying Kings of Urban, at least. You know, they were not playing perfect, but they were playing fairly well, especially with a different team in place. Would I be interested in buying graphic designs for my stream? No, I do graphic design. I wouldn't want to buy any for my stream. I'm happy with it. Thank you, though. By YouTubers, do I mean your channel? No. I mean like more general, large YouTubers. Do you think IBP Cosmic would have gotten murdered had Gibbs been in the series? His mechanical skill would have been overpowered by the KOU pressure. I just don't see IBP handing KOU or the Europeans with Gibbs in the team. I don't know. That's a really hard question to answer. With A-Money in there, it was a different dynamic. It might be a more positive dynamic. It might be a more negative one. I can't say for sure. But when Cosmic is clicking, when they're working, you know, the normal three, when they're clicking, they are on point. Like, really on point. How much do I play the game? Not very much. Oh, thank you. You found it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that $10 donation. Much appreciated. Thank you. All right. Yeah, I don't play the game very much at all. I don't play it so much because I do so much other stuff for the scene and what have you. So I don't do it as much as I'd like to, but I don't even remember the last time I actually played Rocket League. Wow. It's probably been like a couple of weeks since I actually played it and not just casted in it. Like, that's something. No, I think he just meant 450. Hey, Pashy. Welcome, welcome. Congratulations, by the way. I should tell you that now. We were just talking about how, oh, Sicky's here too. Sicky, congratulations to you as well. Yeah, we were just talking about the week that Crown and Jewels has had. Hey, Fernandez. How are you doing? A lot of people showed up. Mocket's here. How you doing? I know Turbo, I saw you here. How you doing? Man. A lot of good people showing up. Good times. Alright, what do we got here? What Cosmic does is different. I always figure that they play a different style. They play a much more positional style, whereas the European teams tend to play a much more rotational style. And it's something that works well for Cosmic. Doesn't work well for a lot of other teams, but they can do pretty well. I should stream some Rocket League. Yeah, I mean, tonight, I don't. Maybe. We'll see what happens. I don't know if I'll do it tonight, but maybe I'll stream some Rocket League. Maybe I'll stream it tomorrow or Thursday or something when I'm not doing one of my regular shows. Hey, Pluto. How you doing? I'd love to play with Mike and Marky again, but, you know, it's up to them. Does a Crown and Jewels raid really count when it's just, you know, the two of them? Oh, there's Godlight too. I didn't even see Godlight. I'm sorry. Hey, Easy. He's here too. Everybody in. Yeah, so I guess it is a full Crown and Jewels raid. It's all of them. So, sorry, Godlight. I didn't even see you coming in. But, yeah. Good stuff. I mean, good showing this past week. We were just talking about it. For anybody who missed it, we can go back and take a quick overview of what we got here. So we'll start with, we'll just work our way back up, shall we? So Pro League results. Let me, there we go, okay. Yeah, Pro League results from this past Sunday. Spectral getting shut out by my XMG. SK Gaming going 3-2 against Noble. Supersonic Avengers getting the first series win against Flipside Tactics 3-2. Orange Creamsicle going 3-2 against Apollo. Untethered continuing their winning ways against a losing Mocket League, or Mocket eSports team, unfortunately, 4-1. And IBP Cosmic edging out Kings of Urban in a major series there. That took us to ESL NA. Failure to launch, winning that series in the finals against Double Tap 4-0. On EU, Crown and Jewels would win the Sunday Cup 4-1 against Experimental RL. They would also go on to win Gfinity, winning that 4-3 against Perpetual Blackout. And they would also win the ESL EU January Finals, which just took place a few moments ago, winning that series 4-2 against the Three Musketeers. ESL NA would go to IBP Cosmic, who would take out Divine Entity with little trouble, 4-0. And that would be your results. A very packed week of results there, but a big week for Crown and Jewels, winning 3 tournaments this week alone. But like I said, they will be back on Sunday to continue their final 2 weeks of the RLC Pro League. So they've got 2 more weeks left. So for Crown and Jewels in particular, it's MyXMG and SK Gaming, on the horizon for them. But some interesting stuff coming. So Mocket only has 1 series left. It's against Orange Creamsicle, and they're going to have to 5-0 it to really stand a chance of making it in. But there you have it. How are Team Rocket doing in the Pro League? Well, they didn't make it. Was I surprised when Kings of Urban lost, and why? Yes, I was surprised they lost. I was surprised they lost because they were playing against a Cosmic team that had a substitute. Did you really donate while I was switched off to that other page? Can't tell if my phone is being stupid. Quit being stupid, phone. I don't like it. I don't know. It's not supposed to show up in here. I didn't get the other one. That's weird. Anyway. Yes and no. Alright, anyway. Yeah, Mocket's chances of making it into the playoffs are very slim at this point. Like I said, the most wins they can get is 12, and they are all the other teams that could potentially qualify in that 4th or 3rd place spot only have to win like 5 or 6 of their upcoming games to make it in there. And that's out of 10. Mocket only has 5 left. So, true fact, Team Rocket is undefeated in the Pro League. They are also winless. Let's not forget that part. That's an important part. Alright, did I miss any other questions? I don't know if I did. Nope, I think I'm good. I think I'm all caught up. Yeah, Team Rocket holding on to that elusive 0-0 record deep into the Pro League schedule, so good for them. Alright, I'm going to do one more call for questions, and then I'm going to have to wrap things up here a little bit sooner than I normally would, and that I'd normally like to, but I also got a late start, so that's a bit of a problem as well. Oh, I think I did get it. I did get that donation. That's funny. Well, thank you very much. I think I also got something from Pashy, too, which didn't pop up. So my apologies, but thank you both for your donations. You are wonderful people, to say the least. So wonderful. I like you guys. You're good people. All of you are good people. Alright.
Yeah,
I don't know which teams are completely undefeated, at least in multiple games. That's the most important thing. Let's see. What is the average age of pro gamers that play Rocket League? Probably around 18 or so. It's all over the place. But I've seen a lot of players who are, you know, within that. Some are older, some are younger. Oh yes, I remember. There it is.
Pasky Shalthis Gappa.
ASCII. Well, thank you very, very much now that that has officially gone through. Went through it a good time. Well, thank you very much again for the donation. Yeah, generally in that vicinity is kind of what I expected the average age to be. Have I discussed power ranking repercussions of Anavia versus Crown and Jewels? No, I have not. But it will probably have a factor in what I do, because they you know, obviously they had a great win, or not a great win, but they had a very close series, and they took it to a final game that only was decided 1-0. So those wins have to have some weight. I'll be taking a close look at that, as well as everything else, of course, when I do those rankings. It probably won't affect Crown and Jewels ranking too much, because they did win the series, and they won 3 tournaments this week. That's only going to be good for Crown and Jewels, I'm sorry. Prime? Yeah, he's younger. A lot of young people who do this stuff. All right. Do I think Stoic, Anavia, and T3M are better than SK or Spectral? I don't know. That's a big question. They're starting to gain some like momentum in terms of how they play. I don't know if I would say just flat out they're better. That's a pretty bold statement, but we'll see how it goes. You know, we'll talk a lot about that kind of stuff when I do the power rankings. I'll have a better time to really break down how they've all played lately and figure that out. No, you are not over. You are actually under. I'm 35. So. Oh, the puppies are stirring. That means my time is just about up. But one final call for questions. If you got them, fire them off now. Also, one good final call for donations if you want your message to show up. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Anyway. But yeah, questions, whatever you want to do, now is the time. Ignore the dogs, they're going to keep going. They're a little quieter because I got the door closed, but if nobody has any questions, I'm going to wrap up here pretty quickly. But I hope you all enjoyed this show. A lot of stuff to talk about. I hope you dig the new logo, too. The new logo for the eSports Wrap-Up show. Tried to do something a little slick. Since it seems I've fallen into this schedule of this show on Mondays, EU Power Rankings Wednesdays, and NA Power Rankings Friday. Where did I get the shirt? I got it from Psyonix. They sent it to me because they're nice and wonderful people, and they gave me this lovely shirt. It's lovely, absolutely lovely. Does RLC save the replays of tournament games? Yes, they do. In fact, I saved every single replay from this week. So, I don't know what the ultimate intention is going to be for the use of these replays, aside from we use them to do our top plays videos and things like that. They might end up being released later, so that anybody can view them. and have them. But for now, they're just internally used for stuff. But yes, I saved everything this week. The perk of casting for everything this week, too. But anyway, yeah. I was on fire. You know, you got to remember to save these replays, and I nailed it this week. 30 for 30. It was good times. Not sure if I'm on camera control during RLPL. I am if I'm hosting the production. And I tend to not go into player view on goals because most of the time the ball cam is off. So the view doesn't always show the goal actually happening. I try doing that, and I always miss either getting the goal and it's terrible, so I've been trying to adjust things to make it so you can at least see what happens on the goal and see the defense and everything like that. So that's the problem right now. If ball cam was on, or a way to just have ball cam be on by default on those replays, it'd be great. It'd be awesome. But unfortunately, there's no way to do it. I don't know, the video wasn't made. It wasn't ready for Pro League, that's why we didn't run it, unfortunately. I know that, you know, we wanted to... Unfortunately, we just weren't able to do it. No, we didn't show it yesterday because I wasn't ready. If we did, I would have known. Because, like I said, I was the one running production, so... Yeah, we've Dirk knows. It's a very vocal bug. Between that bug and the camera shake bug, when you go into spectator mode, those two are big points of contention that need to be fixed. Hopefully by the next patch. Knock on wood. I don't have any wood nearby, so knock on wood. Anyway, cool. Well. I think I'm going to have to wrap it up here. It has been a good day, a good show. We talked all about competitive Rocket League. I hope you all had a great time being a part of this and getting your questions answered, and so many wonderful people showing up. Some of my favorite people in competitive Rocket League. Nice to have you in and watching and talking. But with that being said, I want to thank you all for being here. I'm going to wrap things up for now. I will be back on Wednesday, as per usual, to talk about the EU Power Rankings. And to answer that last question, when do I think the first big LAN is coming? No idea. I would guess, if everything goes as it's been going, maybe fall of this year? Maybe? If we're lucky? If we're good? It'd be nice. Don't know. But in any event, there you have it. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for your questions. Thank you all for the donations and the follows and all those wonderful things. Much appreciated. Take care. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all next time.